Chris Hemsworth helps a poor woman. His act of kindness goes viral. The sun blazed down over a bustling farmer's market in Byron Bay, Australia. Vendors called out daily specials, parents herded kids through crowded stalls, and surfers with windswept hair carried boards past crates of fresh produce. In the middle of it all, Chris Hemsworth moved almost unnoticed, wearing a simple t-shirt, sunglasses, and a baseball cap pulled low. Just another local grabbing some groceries. But that peace didn't last long. At the far end of the market, near a food truck, a tense scene was unfolding. A woman, clothes dusty, hands trembling, stood in front of a vendor, quietly arguing about payment. I, I only have $5, she stammered, clutching a worn-out wallet. But I haven't eaten since yesterday, please. The vendor shook his head, awkward but firm. Sorry, miss, I can't give it away. People watched but kept their distance, the way strangers often do when things get uncomfortable. That's when Chris, still unnoticed by the crowd, walked over. Hey, mate, I'll cover it, he said, his voice calm but direct. The vendor blinked, stunned for a second before realizing who stood before him. Mr. Hemsworth? No, it's fine, But Chris waved him off, pulling out his wallet and handing over more than enough cash. Make sure she's got enough for dinner, too, he added, smiling. The woman, too stunned to speak, looked up at him, her eyes welling with tears. Are you Thor? She whispered, half in disbelief. Chris chuckled. Only on weekends. The small crowd nearby, previously frozen, now buzzed with excitement as phones came out, snapping pictures. But Chris didn't stay for the attention. Instead, he turned back to the woman. Take care of yourself, all right? He said gently before slipping into the crowd, leaving her with food, cash, and a look of pure disbelief on her face. The footage? It was online within minutes. By the time Chris Hemsworth made it back to his car, the first clips of his kind gesture were already climbing the ranks on social media. A teenager who'd filmed the entire moment uploaded it to TikTok with the caption, Thor just saved the day, in real life. It hit 1 million views in less than an hour. But the real storm began when the video made its way to Twitter. The footage, raw and unfiltered, showed Chris casually stepping in, paying for the woman's meal without hesitation, then disappearing into the crowd as if it was just another day. No PR team, no cameras following him around. Just pure, spontaneous kindness. Celebs pretend to be heroes on screen, one user tweeted, but Chris Hemsworth just proved he's one in real life. Another added, he didn't even wait for the cameras. This is what integrity looks like. But as the video racked up millions of views, debates broke out in the comment sections. While many praised Chris, others questioned the authenticity of the moment. Another celebrity caught doing something good, so convenient, right when cameras are around, one critic posted. But the person who originally posted the video fired back. Mate, I was literally filming my smoothie order. Didn't even realize it was him until halfway through. The defense only fueled the fire. Now even news outlets picked up the story. Chris Hemsworth's random act of kindness breaks the internet, read the headline on a major news site. Paparazzi swarmed Byron Bay within hours, hoping to catch another glimpse of the Hollywood star. But Chris, he was already long gone. And then something unexpected happened. The woman Chris had helped, she stepped forward. A Facebook post from a local community page read, I was the woman in that video. My name's Karen. I wasn't looking for charity that day. I was just hungry. Chris didn't make a big deal out of it. He just helped. And in a world where people usually look the other way, that meant everything. The post went viral on its own. Suddenly, it wasn't just about Chris Hemsworth, the celebrity. It was about what his small act of kindness revealed about the world we live in. The woman's post added a whole new layer to the conversation. It wasn't just about a celebrity helping someone. It became a moment that exposed how rarely people step up in everyday life. Comment sections were now filled with personal stories of kindness, moments when strangers had stepped in when no one else would. Karen's Facebook post continued, I didn't even recognize him at first. He didn't say, I'm Chris Hemsworth, or wait for someone to notice. He just saw I was struggling and did something about it. Simple as that. But while the internet buzzed with admiration, Chris remained silent. No social media posts, no press statements. He didn't even acknowledge the viral moment. And that silence, it only made people respect him more. Meanwhile, news outlets dove deeper into Karen's story. It turned out she wasn't homeless, but life had hit her hard. Medical bills, a job loss, and a string of bad luck had pushed her to the edge. One news anchor summed it up perfectly during a morning broadcast. Chris Hemsworth didn't just hand someone food, he reminded us that kindness doesn't need a camera crew or a social agenda. Sometimes it's about simply noticing when someone needs help. But then something unexpected happened. A crowdfunding page for Karen appeared online. It wasn't Chris who started it. It was the teenager who had posted the original TikTok video. His caption read, "Since the internet's watching, why not help her out for real? Let's turn this into something bigger." The goal was modest, $5,000. But within hours, donations flooded in. By the next morning, the total had skyrocketed to over $150,000. Karen posted another update. "I don't even know how to process this. Yesterday I didn't have enough for a sandwich. Today I have a chance to turn my life around. Thank you, thank you, thank you." And through it all, Chris stayed quiet. No spotlight, no self-congratulatory tweets. He lit the spark and stepped away, letting others carry it forward. But the media wasn't done yet, because someone managed to get an exclusive. An interview with Chris Hemsworth himself. And when asked about the viral moment, his response was something no one saw coming. The interview was scheduled quietly, away from the chaos of the headlines, on a small Australian radio show known for its down-to-earth conversations. No flashy cameras, no viral TikTok dancers in the background, just a simple, real conversation. The host, clearly still riding the energy of the viral moment, jumped right in. "Chris, the internet's been going wild. You helped someone in need, walked away like it was nothing, and now there's over $150,000 raised for her. Did you have any idea this would happen?" Chris chuckled lightly. "Not at all, mate. Honestly, I just wanted her to have a meal. I didn't even realize anyone was filming." The host pushed on. "You didn't want to post about it or even comment. Why?" Chris hesitated for a moment before answering. "Because that's not why I did it. Look, I get it. People love these feel-good stories. But kindness shouldn't be about viral moments. It should just happen, quietly, without an audience." The simplicity of his answer hit hard. "But," the host added, "you do realize this one act inspired thousands to donate, right?" Chris smiled. "And that's the silver lining, isn't it? If my small action led people to help her out even more, that's incredible. But the real story here isn't me. It's her. She needed help. She got it. That's the win." Social media exploded again. Clips from the radio show circulated within hours, pulling in millions of views. One TikTok comment summed it up. "Chris Hemsworth just proved you can be a global superstar and a grounded human. That's rare." But the ripple effect didn't stop there. Other celebrities began quietly donating to the GoFundMe for Karen, some anonymously, others openly, and the total soared past $500,000 within days. Meanwhile, Karen posted a heartfelt video thanking everyone, tears streaming down her face. "I can't believe this. I was invisible to most people. Chris didn't just see me, he made the world see me. I have a second chance at life because of one small act of kindness." And in the comments, Chris Hemsworth finally appeared. A simple comment: "You deserve to be seen. Wishing you all the best, Karen." It instantly became the most liked comment on the platform. But just when it seemed the story had reached its peak, something else happened. The town of Byron Bay, Chris's hometown, announced a community initiative inspired by the event. A monthly market event where meals would be donated to anyone in need, no questions asked. They named it the Thor Initiative. The internet loved it. And Chris? He showed up quietly at the first event, serving food, no cameras, no press, just him and his family. It was never about the spotlight. It was about the people. The Thor Initiative quickly became more than just a local event. It became a movement. What started as a small community effort in Byron Bay began spreading across neighboring towns. Farmers, vendors, and local businesses started pitching in, donating food and resources to keep the project alive. Photos surfaced online, not glossy magazine shots, but grainy pictures taken by locals, showing Chris Hemsworth in a simple apron, handing out meals, laughing with kids, and chatting with families. No security detail, no Hollywood entourage, just Chris, blending in, being part of the community. One photo in particular went viral, a candid shot of Chris kneeling next to a young boy wearing a homemade Thor costume. The kid beamed as Chris handed him a sandwich and whispered something that made the boy break into uncontrollable laughter. The caption? When your real-life hero gives you lunch and a life lesson, Byron Bay's finest. But it wasn't just about Chris anymore. Schools in Byron Bay began incorporating lessons about community kindness into their curriculums, using the viral story as a teaching moment. Teachers encouraged students to think about small acts of kindness they could do daily, without the expectation of recognition. Meanwhile, Karen's life had completely transformed. With the funds raised from the GoFundMe, she managed to secure stable housing, paid off overdue medical bills, and even enrolled in community college to pursue a degree in social work. In an emotional update video, she shared her future plans. If someone like Chris Hemsworth can take a moment out of his life to help a stranger, the least I can do is pay that kindness forward. I want to help people who feel unseen, because for a long time, I was one of them. The internet erupted again, this time with waves of support for Karen's next chapter. Chris saw the video but didn't make a big public post. Instead, he quietly sent her a scholarship fund through his foundation, covering her entire tuition. When asked later why he didn't announce it, he simply replied, "Because she deserves it, not the attention." But the story still wasn't done. Months later, during a red carpet event for his latest film, a reporter shouted a question as Chris passed by. "Chris, any comment about the Thor initiative and how it's still going strong?" He smiled and without breaking stride answered, "One small act of kindness can turn into something bigger. You never know who's watching or who needs it most. That's all I'll say." The clip made headlines, but more importantly, it reminded millions that sometimes being a real-life hero isn't about swinging hammers or saving worlds. It's about seeing the person right in front of you and choosing to help. The Thor initiative continued to expand, gaining momentum far beyond what anyone had expected. Stories poured in from small towns across Australia where local markets and community centers adopted the idea, creating safe spaces where anyone in need could receive food, support, or simply a kind conversation. No strings attached. Chris Hemsworth stayed largely out of the limelight, but the stories kept circulating. A mother in Sydney shared how her young son, after hearing about the Thor initiative at school, spent his birthday collecting canned goods instead of presents. Another farmer donated a season's worth of produce to the initiative, stating, "If Chris Hemsworth can make time to help, so can I." But the most touching moment came during the first anniversary of the initiative. Karen, now pursuing her social work degree, was invited to speak at a community event. She stood in front of a crowd that filled the entire park, her once shaky voice now steady and confident. "I was someone who felt invisible," she began. "I didn't think anyone saw me until one person did. And that simple act of kindness didn't just give me food that day, it gave me hope." She paused, wiping away a tear before continuing. "The thing is, we all have the power to do that for someone else. We don't need to be movie stars. We just need to be human." The crowd erupted in applause, and just as the event was about to wrap up, there was a murmur through the crowd. People turned, phones lifted, and sure enough, there was Chris Hemsworth, standing quietly at the edge of the park with his kids. He wasn't there for a speech or a spotlight. He was there as part of the community. Karen caught sight of him and smiled. Chris returned it with a small wave, mouthing, "Proud of you." A photographer captured that exact moment, the silent exchange between the woman whose life had been changed and the man who had unknowingly set it all in motion. The photo would later be titled, "The Ripple Effect of Kindness." It went viral. Again. But this time, the conversation wasn't about Chris Hemsworth. It was about community, compassion, humanity. People started asking deeper questions online. Why does it take a celebrity moment for us to notice people in need? What can I do in my town to start something similar? Imagine if acts of kindness were the norm, not the exception. Chris, true to form, didn't offer a grand speech or public statement. Instead, he posted a single message to his Instagram story. It was never about me. It's about what we all can do. Keep it going. The message was simple, director, and it worked. A year later, over 100 local versions of the Thor Initiative were running across Australia, and even had a few pop-ups in the US and UK. Each one started by ordinary people who were inspired by a moment that was never supposed to go viral. And Chris, he kept showing up, quietly, without cameras. Because for him, being a real-life hero wasn't about capes, hammers, or movie screens. It was about seeing someone who needed help and doing something about it. No fame, no credit, just kindness. The kind that lingers, the kind that spreads, the kind that changes lives. And in the end, that was all that really mattered.